And welcome back. When we last left off, we started the game in 7 Kingdoms 2, and we started as Carthaginians. I also went over the interface and explained everything to you. And now let's brush up our ancient Carthaginian and let's play 7 Kingdoms 2. So the first thing I usually do is actually tax my people. You sort this out, you do this by clicking collect taxes or using Alt T, and because this is a tedious process I will automate it. You right click this, you hit 90 or whatever button you want, although I recommend to at least stay above 50, because below 50 there is a good chance that your people will start to rebel against you. Next thing is I set the audio grant. I set this to 40, because if the loyalty goes below 30, which is this point here, you will be in quite a big amount of trouble. Yeah, your people are very likely to start rebellions, and if you hit 30, it's usually too late already. Okay, now we also want to build walls. Note that those require peasants. Workers don't build walls around their hometown. The wall basically provides us with a basic defense, and it gives you more time to help the town with proper soldiers. If a town is attacked without a wall, then attacks will cause the peasants to rally out and defend the town, which of course leads to loss of peasants, as they are not military trained. If only workers remain, nothing will happen and they will just be randomly killed. Okay. The second thing you want to do is fill your fortress. A fortress that has vacant spaces can be infiltrated by spies quite easily. And since your first town is always free of spies, you can use that time to secure your king. Step 2 is recruiting a citizen here. You can either take out 1 or 10 citizens, but only the single citizen can actually build most things. Wagons can only build new towns. Also, because this is so close by, I want to get that resource as well. It's a shame we don't have an Egyptian king this time, because I like their special ability. Their seat of power increases their population rate, and their god can spawn 10 civilians out of thin air, which is, as an ability, one of the definitely more powerful ones, at least in my opinion. Having 10 people is just downright amazing. Okay, I think I can't squeeze a market in here, so it connects to all of those places, so I'm going to just put it over here. Now, when you place a building, it's important to note the connections it has, because that is... Actually, I want to build a factory first, because that is basically what makes your buildings function. Some buildings require workers, which is shown here. You can use this little slider to increase or decrease the amount of workers you have, or you want to be in here. They will always be removed from any town that is connected to a place, and if you have several towns connected, they will try to draw an equal amount of workers from each place. So if I set this to 20 and have 2 towns next to the mine, it will try to recruit 10 workers from each town. If there are no more workers available in one town, it will fill up with workers from the other place. Okay. In factories, you'll want to set them to auto production. There are very few cases where I set a factory to manual production, simply because I like having everything, or not having to bother with that. What auto production does is basically it checks where resources are available. So if I usually start buying resources pretty soon. So, for example, if your resources, if one resource runs out in your market, let's accept those, and another is available, the factory will change its production, and you don't have to bother with that. Otherwise, I would have to go back to it and tell them to produce something else. By the way, there are 3 possible products. We have those iron pots, we have those clay pots, and we have those copper goblets. For now we will produce iron pots because there's nothing else we can do. We only have iron available, so we can't do iron goblets. Also, walls have 2 levels. The second one being obviously stronger. And you generally want that to be there. Your walls can be damaged by various things, but for example, if you don't have a wall and a tornado hits your village, it will kill random citizens. If you have a wall, it will attack the wall first, and it's very unlikely that the wall breaks. Okay, we'll put this to 5. This seems to be sort of the ideal amount of workers, at least as far as I figured it out. It seems to be some sort of optimum, because at the maximum technologies, 5 miners will mine enough to actually supply a factory full time. As you can see here, we are still we're having some sort of an... Yeah, we're currently undersupplying it a bit. We're producing more than we are mining, so we are using whatever was stocked before we built the factory. No, I don't want a factory here. I want another inn. Inns are buildings that allow you to recruit random people. Wow, that's a skilled spy. Spying is capped at 100. Okay, so in an inn we have 2 categories. The Severed Arms, which is pretty much soldiers. Note that this is their leadership skill, not their combat skill. And we have spies, and conveniently filed as the Cloak and the Dagger. I set my countdown. I think I did. Okay, there's one more thing I want to build here, and that's a Tower of Science. It's pretty straightforward to see what that does. After that, we'll have to wait a bit for more cash to flow in. Sadly, building a second mine wasn't cheap, but it will be very useful in the long run. Could have actually tried to squeeze the factory in so that it connects... Oh no, I don't think I would have managed to place that where it connects to both mines at once. So we'll have to set up a bit of a side economy over there. I will try to get this done with local civilians, so let's hire this... No, let's not hire him. Actually, let's do... First off, I want you to mine. My usual research procedure is I'll go with mining and manufacturing. Then I will go with special units. Then the advanced farming. Then spying. Then military. And war machines, or everything dealing with war machines at the very end of the line. Simply because I don't use them and I only research them for the sake of completion. As for why I'm not using them, that's pretty much personal preference. I simply don't like them. I find them expensive and not too useful, and also that's the reason why this was the reason why I'm using 90 loyalty as my auto taxation, because that because I can still tax if I need money quickly. Because I want to hire this guy. Do I have a better Egyptian leader here? No. I want to hire this guy, make him a general, and put him over here. And I want to build a fort. You can build 2 military buildings. One is the fort, one is the camp. Camps only have 200 health and they can't be armed. While we're waiting, let's talk about the fortress here. In a fortress you will have your soldiers, who will be educated with a combat skill of 20 points. Before they reach 20 points, I can right-click a soldier in training and he will return to his town. After he reaches 20, right-clicking him removes him from the fortress. Note that his loyalty will suffer from just standing out here. What you can do to keep your troops loyal is have them walk out with your king, or with your general. This requires them to be in the fortress with a general in the first place. So once he is in a fortress with a general, he is assigned to that general. So if I click sortie here, they will all walk out. And now you notice that their loyalty actually shouldn't drop anymore. Come on. Don't do that. Yeah, note that the town will lose loyalty now. Okay, fine, go back. Ah, there we go. Now the loyalty increases while he's out. This is because he has a leader. Your king always has leadership of 100, which is the cap. It can't go beyond that. Although sometimes heroes join you who have a higher skill. And note that your generals might still lose loyalty by being outside too long. The other stats are, well, combat is quite straightforward, it increases over time and directly affects the hit points. Usually humans gain, I think, 2 health points per combat skill point here, pretty much. So seeing the health of a unit always is a direct indicator of their combat skills. So if you see that 90 90 health points, this guy has 45 combat skills. Cavalry units have more than that, and elephant cavalry has, I think, 5 points per fighting, 5 health points per fighting skill. Okay, let's see what else we have nearby. I was trying to expand my place from the closest to the furthest away towns, at least at the beginning of the game. Later on I will just do whatever I can get my hands on. That's a hero, by the way. Those have ridiculously high combat skills or very high leadership, or both. They usually come with an artifact, and some have special abilities, although I haven't figured out what gives them those. I suppose they were just lucky. Like, some can also freeze everything around them, and others can do other nasty things. One thing you should know about fortresses is they have weapon towers, and you have to manually arm them. So your starting fortress starts out with 5 armed towers, so it is pretty defendable. While every new fortress you build has to gain those separately. It takes a while for them to be armed, but it's generally worth it. Those deal a surprising amount of damage to whatever attacks the soldiers that have been stationed inside. So it's really one thing I recommend to everybody. Okay, you can also upgrade camps to force, but it's something I wouldn't recommend because it's the resulting fort will only have 200 health points, whereas a fort you built from the ground up has 400. You may want to do it, and I suppose some players might prefer camps, but I always go with force. The 200 gold aren't that big of a deal, at least not in the mid to late game, if you start with a low treasury. Okay, speaking of gold, we will gain gold by exporting things. Those camels here are caravans, and once they hit our market they will buy 200 of those pots. We'll also sell them kind of passively to our citizens. You can see the numbers dropping here. That is just our citizens buying things from the market. But yeah, it goes much faster if you have a caravan, because they buy 200 units at once, which is just downright more. Okay, now that we have 3000 gold, we can actually buy a seat of power, which costs 2000, so, and it's quite expensive. I think it costs 250 per year to maintain, so you don't want to do that when you're low in cash. But now we are not anymore, so I can afford that. Okay. Once the seat of power is finished, we will gain another special ability that is granted by the seat of power, and it lasts as long as that seat stands. Let's see. It's always the same, it's defined by the nationality you have. So this seat of power will give me 30% more food, which is useful because it means I can support more workers and soldiers, of course. Okay. I don't know if if this affects all farmers or only those Carthaginian farmers, but I don't care because food is not generally much of a problem later on. Right now we are of course losing some because only peasants produce food, and we only have workers and soldiers, so of course this goes down. But we should be okay very soon. You'll usually be fine. And the way I start my games, I never had problems with food. Also, something I absolutely love about this game actually is that you can see everything at a glance. For example, if I let's see, what can I disable for now? I should have done this before I build. Okay, let's do this quickly. You can see the Seal of Power has stopped flashing, although those flames have stopped doing things. I think they did things before. Oops, let me just shut that down. Will they do things now? Come on. Don't fail me now. Yeah, now you can see those little smoke plumes work again, or do things again. I didn't want to fire all my workers here, but those animations stop if a building stops working for whatever reason. So if there are no workers there, if there are no resources if they need them. And that way you can easily glance if something works or not. You can also easily see the nationality of a town. I mean, you can see this is a Chinese town, at least with some experience you know it's a Chinese town. This is an Egyptian town, and so on. That's Mongol. We can also, damn it Skype, you can also see the nationality of soldiers and everything quite easily. Again, it takes a bit of getting used to it, especially because the Greek and the Roman cavalry look pretty similar in here. But you can see that this is a Roman cavalry, and I like that. It's an art I miss in some games, where I think you can't see it and you have to click everything to see what the hell it's actually supposed to be. Okay, this town is dropping in resistance now, but it's not dropping further because our general is pretty weak. It will slowly drop in resistance, and I think I might actually want to accelerate that. So they will slowly lose 1 point after another. Once the resistance hits 50 points, they will both start to buy from your markets, and they will work in your buildings, provided any are connected to the place. Also, once you get to that point and give them something to work in, their resistance will drop quite fast, regardless of having a general nearby. So once they get to that point, you can generally say this town is pretty much mine. Okay, I want a Roman leader here. Let's see if we can find a Roman. And, okay, apparently you can't, so I'm going to cut off the episode here. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!